Right, so are you not stopping, love? Jess, are you... Take your coat off, come on. Come on, I'm married. This is going to be the best my night gets. No, I'm not joking. Well, that dude's fucking wanking right there. Oh, yeah. That was so worth it. Normally, now I'd be being charged 35p a minute for this. Take your coat off. She's done it. Take your scarf off. Don't talk, you're from Rochdale. Oh, is that making you horny? Well, it wasn't until you opened your fucking trap, love. I'm sorry, that's so rude. Right. Start us clapping, we'll get the first act on. She's absolutely brilliant. The louder you cheer, the funnier they will be. Start us clapping, please. Thank you, Lee. Everybody else joining. Give us a big cheer. Absolutely superb. First act, Lucy Thompson.
Hello, guys. How are we doing? Oh, good. Lovely to be here. I'm just having a glass of red wine. Is there any other fellow red wine drinkers in? Cool. Okay. No, it's something I've always done. I've been doing comedy for 3 years, like this month, and it's sort of like a tradition I have. I always have a glass of red wine just before I go on stage. I was at my gig last night, right, and I had a white T-shirt on, and just before I went on, I was drinking my wine, and I spilled it all down me, and I was like, fucking hell, that looks awful. Like, I can't go on stage like this. I don't know what to do. Another act, bless him, came running up to me with a large glass of white wine, and he said, just use this. So I necked that, and then... It was right. 30 minutes later, didn't give a fuck about the gig. It was brilliant. It was fine. So yeah, I've been doing comedy for 3 years. I had my comedy anniversary last week. It's been my longest ever anniversary, which is great. But a lot of people think, like, if you're not in comedy, you might get the sort of wrong idea about comedy. Like, people I went to school with and stuff, they think it's quite glamorous. I think, you know, it isn't. We could all agree with that. Like, I had a gig in Blackburn last week. Anyone ever been? Yeah. Anyone from Blackburn? Brilliant. We'll just fucking rip into it then. That's fine. No, so, yeah, I had a gig in Blackburn, and I'd never been before, and I got the megabus there. So, because comedy is quite glamorous. And the toilet was broken on the megabus as well, and it was 7 hours long. So I got to Blackburn, and the first thing I needed to do was go to the toilet, so I ran into the coach station toilet, and I went in there, and someone came in next to me, and just started making some sort of straining noises, right? And I was just like, okay, that's fine, it's a toilet, you can just do what you want, that's fine. But she felt the need to shout over the top of the toilet, sorry about that, love. I'm trying for a shit, but there's no tapping in. So I was like, you know what, comedy is glamorous, you're right, it's fucking brilliant. I do love comedy. I had a really good year of comedy last year. Like, I know that 2016, a lot of people saw it as a bit of a shit year, a bit of a horrible year, but I personally had quite a good year. I'm going to tell you about a couple of nice things that happened to me, if that's okay. So the first one was, I used to suffer from really, really bad anxiety, like it was crippling, like I didn't leave the house or anything like that. Then in 2016, I really worked on it, and I got some help, and it's really worked. Like, I'm only anxious about 2 things now. Everyone's opinion of me and dying. So... It's going well. I know one way, I did go over it, and one way that sort of I did overcome it was through running. Any runners in? You, have you done sort of like, have you done some long distance races, like marathons and stuff like that? Yeah. Okay, cool. So I started running, and my friend was like, you start running, it'll really help you. The first couple of runs I went on, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? It's still me with exactly the same thoughts, but now I do feel like I'm actually going to die. Like, I hate this. But I stuck with it, and I stuck with it. And then last year, in October of last year, I did something which I never ever thought I'd do. I did Leicester Marathon. Right, thanks. You know, you guys. Did a gig in Derby last week, and they gave marginally less of a shit than you, about 26.2 miles. Fucking hell. Apart from one woman on the front row who visibly mouthed the word bollocks to her mate. So, I know. I was fine, because like, when she left to go out for the break, I noticed she was wearing a pair of like velour jogging bottoms that said bootylicious across the arse. And I thought, right, if there's enough room to fit the word, well, it isn't. So, yeah, so I did the marathon, right? It's 26.2 miles. It's fucking far, right? And as soon as I did it, I got over the line and I was sick. I just vomited and vomited. And there and then I said, I am never going to run again. And do you know what? I haven't. So that's the only thing I've ever stuck to in my life as well. So something to be proud of. No, so I did, that was in October. And then, like, so I was like, okay, that's October. It's Christmas, isn't it? So I started like my Christmas eating and my Christmas drinking and stuff like that. And I sort of like put all the weight I'd lost back on. So I was like, right, going into 2017, I'm going to go on a diet and I'm going to get back. I'm not going to run again because fuck that, right? But no, I'm going to go back on my diet. So I was like really serious about it until I got my diet together. I went shopping just before New Year. I brought Snacker Jacks. That's the sort of level of seriousness I was at. Right, and I came up with a name for my sort of for my regime, which was going to be Clean and Lean 2017. You're welcome. If you want to borrow that, you've got 2 more years left, 18 and 19, still rhymes. 2020, you're on your own. I can't help you out anymore. Right, so I went on a diet, started it on January the 3rd, because it was bank holiday, wasn't it? So that's how diet works, right? So January the 3rd, got given 2 free chocolate bars with a local newspaper. I knew I'd be tempted, so I stayed strong and I threw them in the bin. PM, went through bins, got them out, ate both, so it's a strong start. 22nd of January, had all 3 meals in a Greggs. That's a good day, isn't it, for everyone? Different Greggs as well. I sort of travelled around. This was going into sort of end of February here. I had a headache, but I couldn't be bothered to go downstairs to get some water, so I took 2 ibuprofen with the liquid at the end of a pot noodle. You're welcome. You can have that. Going into March, this was March the 8th, I quit the gym. And because I wasn't going, it was a money thing, like it was more like I was sponsoring a gym each month than actually going. All right, so I thought, no, I'm going to quit, I'm not using it. So I don't know if you've ever tried to quit a gym. It's the fucking most impossible thing in the world, right? So I was like, trying to do it like online and stuff like that, and it didn't work. So I was like, I'm going to go in, and I was like, guys, I need to quit the gym. And they were like, oh, can we ask why? And I was like, oh, yeah, I love the gym, love you guys, but I'm moving abroad. And they were like, oh, can we ask where you're moving to? I was like, yeah, Madrid. Long story short, guys, I'm paying €29 a month for a gym. Never going to go. Never going to go. And then this was quite recent. This was last night. I made a chili, okay? And when I made it, it looked great. As soon as I made it, I wanted to make it into my favourite food, which is nachos, right? But I know that tortilla chips are bad for you. So we'll just add it on a bed of quavers. So, I mean, we're all learning here. So, yeah, it's going well. So that was like a couple of good things that happened to me. Like 2016 was going really well, and then something bad happened, right? I was in a relationship, and I'll tell you now, I don't think I'll shock anyone. I am a gay, okay? I know. I didn't see it coming either. But though, looking at you, I'm going to have to rethink a few things. Alex was right. No. I'm a very pure gay. I've never had a penis in or around me. Right? Oh no. But I think like no one's ever shocked. Like I don't think I ever walk anywhere or meet anyone or walk on stage and people think, bet she likes a bit of cock. Right, it's just, like, it's not a thought that goes through people's heads. Like, I came out in 2002, I was 19, and, like, literally no one was shocked. I say no one, 2 people were shocked, and these are the people who should have been least shocked. They're my parents, right? Because they've known me all my life, and they were literally like, they didn't see it coming, and I don't know how they didn't see it coming. Like, I've always looked like this, always sounded like this, never had a boyfriend, right? When I was 6 years old, my mum found me crying, right? I was 6 years old, and she was like, what's wrong? I was crying because I couldn't grow a full beard, right? That's why I was crying. Like, I've worn heels once in my life. I was 18. It was at my brother's wedding, right? Heels. And about 11:30, I was on the dance floor. I looked down, and I'd speared an entire roast potato on the heel. The meal was at 5, like, it was on there all night, and, like, the signs were there, so I sat them down in the kitchen, and I was like, I need to tell you something, I'm gay, and my dad was sick into a bin. Like, that was his reaction, and I don't know if, like, that's just, like, my family reaction stuff. Mine was, like, ran 26.2 miles, puke, I'm gay, puke, that's just how we do things, right? It's like, he was sick into a bin, which is pretty, like, a fucking extreme reaction, right? And I said to him, like, Dad, that was really horrible, like, why were you sick? Like, why were you sick into a bin? And he was like, oh, I'm just really sorry. It's just really hard to sort of acknowledge that you're going to be having a sexual relationship with someone of the same sex. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. would it make it easier? Would you feel a more sort of rapt paternal pride if I sat you down and told you I wanted to be bookended by 2 men? Like, would that make it easier? Like, but bless them, like, they're lovely now. They've come around to it. They're fine. They're absolutely fine. So I was in my relationship. We were together for a few years and stuff. We're in our 30s, so I thought, like, this is it. This is my thing. We're going to move in together. Then we went on holiday. We went to the Lake District because lesbians love walking, right? That's just our thing. We love walking. We went on holiday to the Lake District, and on the second day, she left the Lake District, and I never saw or heard from her again. I know, that's fucking bad, isn't it? My initial reaction was anger. Because we had gone self-catering and I'd paid for the big shop the day before. Like, you know what you're doing, don't you? You don't let someone buy a full-size Pavlova if you're going to do that. Like, you just don't, you don't know. So yeah, it was a really horrible time. Like, it was a horrible time. And I don't drive, and we had driven there, she'd driven there, and then she just left. And I had to get like 5 trains home. Like, it took like 7 hours, and I was just like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And I got on the train, and I just fucking started crying. Right, and then it was one of those things where I was like crying so much that people were either like looking at me or they weren't looking at me, and I realised that was their only options. But like, it was just horrible, and it was a really horrible time. But it was like, you know, when you have stuff like this happens, you sort of like take your time, you get over it. So I got over it, like months passed, and I thought, right, I'm ready to get back out there again. So I started dating again, so like online dating, because I think that's completely a legitimate way to meet people now. Like 10 years ago, if you met online, you just lied about how you met, right? But now it's like, if you meet people, you're like, oh, where did you guys meet? And they're like, oh, we just met in a pub. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know you can meet online now, right? Like, it's just completely fine. But I will say, like, going back into online dating, I think it's a little bit like, I'd liken it to shopping at Poundland. Stay with me, right? It's just like, the way I see it, like, there's loads and loads and loads of choice. There's loads and loads of choice, but it is all shit quality and broken, right? Like, I got a message off a girl, right, and I clicked on a profile, and all she'd said about herself is, what you see is what you get. She didn't have a profile picture. Like, I don't know what that means. Like, so yeah, no, it's going all right. So I'm back out there, which is really, really good. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So my name's Lucy. From my parentage, like my parents, I'm half Italian, half Scottish. All that basically means is that I've got a natural palate for the finer foods in life. The pizza, the pasta, the mozzarella, the risotto. Just as long as you deep fry the fuck out of it first, right? And I lived in Italy for a long time. I lived there for years and years and years. And about 3 years ago, I remember it very vividly. I was lying on a beach in the south of Italy. That's where I lived. And it was a beautiful day. Like, the sun was shining. The Mediterranean was there. It was just gorgeous. I was with my friends. I thought, God, this is nice. This is nice. But is it enough? Don't mean to like bring you down, but you do only get one chance at life. And you have to take it by both hands, and you do have to follow your dreams. I moved to Leicester. People do different things. That's what I'm saying. Right? We've all got our own dream. So yeah, I moved to Leicester. But I went back to Italy quite recently because my sister got married. She still lives there. So we went to her wedding, and her husband's Italian. So by the very nature of sort of where my family are from and where his family are from, half the guests at the wedding are British and half of them are Italian, right? Now, if you don't know, there's no more notable difference between these two nations than their behaviour at a free bar. Italians aren't big drinkers, right? They have one or two, they're fine. British people go fucking mental, right? Because there's something about a free bar that just panics a British person. You walk in, you're like, it's a free bar. Is it €500 behind the bar? Is it all night? Is it just local stuff? Is it just this one drink each? Like, what if this shit closes down and we haven't got what we're entitled to? Right? It's fucking like, it's panic. It's pure panic. I look over, and my uncle is at the bar, and I'll tell you my uncle's name, and you can just work out for yourself which side my family is from. The man's name's Donald McDonald. He's like the most Scottish man born, right? So Uncle Donald's at the bar, so I went over and I was like, oh, you're right, Uncle Donald. He's like, just hold on a second. 2 pints of lager, pint of better, pint of Guinness, bottle of red, bottle of white, bottle of rosé, double vodka and coke, double whiskey and coke, double gin and tonic. And I was like, oh, you're just getting around it, Uncle Donald. He's like, nah, you can't risk it, Lucy. Like, he was just taking, like, what he thought he was entitled to, right? And then I look over at my now brother-in-law, who has a look on his face that I can only describe as, what the fuck have I just married into, right? Honestly, it was just like, He's never even been to England at this point, right? So I went over and I was like, ciao Pepe, tutto posto. Hey Pepe, is everything okay? And he's like, hey, ciao Lucia, e non lo so, c'è normale. I don't know, is this normal, right? He's never seen this, right? And I was like, yes, mate, this is entirely normal. These are British people. You're sort of married into a British family now. So what I'm going to do, just to make your life easier, I've got a little list for you of times and occasions when British people like to get twatted. I will say we are taking Friday and Saturdays red. That's just a given, okay? Like, that just happens. So we've got weddings, christenings, funerals, anything in a church. Thursday nights, Sunday afternoons. Any occasion where you eat food outside. Mondays. The birth and death of our Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ. Tuesdays. December. The train. Wednesdays. And the airport, because that is law here. That is just, that's a British thing for you. But when I was in Italy, I was at my brother-in-law's house, and I found he had a Lonely Planet guide to Britain, because he was obviously planning to come over here and he wanted to get the best out of his time here. And I thought, you know what, I've been travelling quite a bit, and I've got my fair share of Lonely Planets, but I've never read one about Britain. I want to see what they say about us. You know, we're a great nation. I'll just find it. Get ready to feel quite proud. I will say that. So this is like a Lonely Planet guide to Britain, and this is all about sort of British culture, okay? Like I said, strap in and feel proud. The English are a mongrel race. And the national psyche is a real mixed bag. A major newspaper survey conducted in 2010 found that 25% of the British population had downloaded pornographic images. This is a travel guide. And also, I think 75% of people are lying in that as well. It's quite low, doesn't it? It goes on, gets better. On a less profound level, the British, as a nation, are obsessed with hobbies and pastimes. Not the usual kind either, football or tennis, but more bird watching, pigeon fancying, crosswords and puzzles. What a fucking fascinating nation we are. Another aspect of British culture is the importance of owning your own house. It's widely regarded, if you haven't got your own place past 30, then you're probably just a bit of a loser. That's what it says in the Lonely Planet Guide to England. Fucking incredible. Last holiday I went to Japan, right? And I got a Lonely Planet Guide, and I was reading it on the plane, and I was thinking, like, I'm going to Japan, it's going to be brilliant, it's going to be absolutely mental. Like, Japan's like one of the craziest nations. So I was like, I went for 3 weeks. I was like, I'm going to take my notebook, going to get loads of material. 3 weeks, one joke, but it is a corker. It's noodle based, so get ready. What do you call a Japanese crime thriller? An whodunit. You're welcome. You can have that, actually. If you want to tell it at work or something like that, that's fine, that's fine. But I was reading the Lonely Planet Guide to Japan, and it did say quite explicitly at the start, the Japanese are one of the most reserved nations on the planet, and this is something to bear in mind for the traveller to Japan. You say that. When I got there, got into my hotel, turned on the telly, first thing I saw was a programme where men get wanked off to karaoke. I wondered what the opposite of reserved looks like. That's it. Right. This has been loads of fun. You've got a lovely night ahead of you. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Lucy Thompson. That was brilliant, wasn't it?